Hi, it's Caitlin from Caitlin Swatches, and guess what? I have another Bee's Knees video for you. Very excited. I just realized that I say I'm very excited, I think at the beginning of every video, but know that I'm being honest when I say that. So this is the What We Do in the Shadows Part 3 collection. There have been two other What We Do in the Shadows inspired collections from Bee's Knees. The team is a huge fan of that show. I've seen the movie. It's hilarious. It's adorable. So these polishes all have amazing names from the show because the show is hilarious. Therefore, the names on the polishes are hilarious. And what do you need to know? So you need to know that these polishes will be launching on the Bee's Knees website on October 28th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They will be available for pre-order until November 2nd. I will include all of that down in the description. And I also have, I think it's 3, maybe it's 4. It might be 4, but I think it's 3 polishes that are customs for different Facebook groups. So if you're not already a member of the Facebook groups, I will link them down in the description so you can join. And those polishes I will share after I talk about the collection. And those polishes will actually go on sale for pre-order starting on October 15th. And in terms of how you purchase those, once you join the Facebook group, they will post the exclusive link for the nail polish in the group, and then you can buy them from the Bee's Knees website. This also may or may not be the second to last collection from Bee's Knees Lacquer. There's some absolute idiot with a very loud car driving up my street right now, and it's making me very upset. I think I've talked enough, so let's just get into the nail polish. Oh, one last thing. I will have comparisons at the end of the video, so this is probably a good month for comparisons because some of these polishes do look similar to other ones, but of course they're all slightly different. So if you're curious, stick around for that. I thought I would go lightest to darkest, so we're starting off with You're Such a Little Bean Freak, and this one is described as a purple toned gray with red to green shimmer and a ton of hollow flakes. So this one definitely has somewhat of a creamier base to it than some of the other Lion sibling polishes that we've seen from Bee's Knees, and as I mentioned, there will be lots of comparisons at the end, so if you're curious already about how this compares to something, I've probably got it compared at the end of the video. So I built this one up in 2 coats. Because of that creamier base, I found it to be quite opaque and only needed 2. And of course, these dry down just a little bit more dull than you probably want, so definitely use a glossy top coat for the glossiest possible finish. So here it is in 2 coats plus top coat, and on me, obviously this is almost like a nude nail, but it has a really beautiful shimmer to it, which makes it really interesting. And yeah, it's none of these are going to be difficult to remove, so if anyone's new to this finish, they're all easy to remove. Here we have That Awkward Age, and this one's described as a charcoal gray with red to green shimmer and a ton of hollow flakes. So this one is a larger particle hollow, and the finish on this looks more like microflakes according to the description. So you can sort of see what I mean by that when you look at the size of the hollow flakes. They are a little more scattered and larger. They're very plentiful and they come out very easily on the nail, obviously, and this one is definitely opaque in 2 coats. It's also sort of a creamier base, and it definitely allows all of the flakes and shimmer to show through, which is really great. And obviously I recommend a glossy top coat to finish it. So here you can see this sort of has more of like a taupey, putty base compared to the last one that we saw, even though they're both technically grays. Next up is Guess What, and this one is described as a pale blue with red to green shimmer and a ton of hollow flakes. So this one, as you probably can already tell, is less on the creamy base side of things. So there's something a little more sheer and jelly-like to the base, and at the same time, I was still able to build this one up in 2 coats for opacity. Obviously, my nails are shorter, so I'm sure a lot of people will want 3 coats, but I really like how these look in 2 coats, and obviously you want a glossy top coat. So this one, I find that the shimmer really stands out against the base in all lighting, and the hollow flakes are super plentiful. Wow, I can't speak. So you can see here how the shimmer comes off almost a little more rainbowy in this one compared to the previous two. So I don't know if that has to do with the base or what other kind of magic, but I just really like how the shimmer looks in this one. Now we're moving on to some more colorful ones. This one's called A Total Harpy in My Butt. I'm going to say butt so I don't get demonetized. This one is described as a dirty lime green with red to green shimmer and a ton of hollow flakes. So just like Guess What, this one definitely is more on the sheer jelly sort of base side of things. And I also was able to get it opaque in 2 coats. This one built up really beautifully. And you can obviously see that all of these polishes have a really great formula. They're super easy to work with, and like I said, they're not difficult to remove, and they totally smooth out in 1 layer of top coat. So here is this one in 2 coats plus top coat, and you can probably already see just how intense the shimmer is when it contrasts with the base. So this one you're getting a lot of red and gold shifts, and definitely green at extreme angles. And another dirty name on this polish. This one is, I'll say Rumpelstiltskin, but you can read what it says. And this one is described as a burnt orange with red to green shimmer and a ton of hollow flakes. So another one with a sheerer base, and this one surprised me with how intense and shimmery it was. The red to green shimmer, obviously the red sort of really integrates well into the base because of the orange, but it gives a really cool effect, as you're going to see soon. It makes it very glowy. So again, 2 coats plus top coat is all you'll need for this one. It built up really easily, and I don't imagine many people would need more than 2 coats. So here it is, and you can see how rainbowy the hollow is. And then you can just see how beautiful the shift is. It's sort of golden and yellow and green at the extreme angles. So I just really like how well the shimmer integrates with this base color. And now we're moving on to Fantastic, which is described as a dirty lemon with red to green shimmer and hollow flakes. So this one I absolutely love. Give me a yellow any day and I'll be very happy. So you obviously can see that this has a sheer base, but again, it built up really well for me in 2 coats. It covers my nail line completely, and that shimmer just really intensifies with the 2nd coat, as you can see very easily. I will also note that this one did not cause any staining, so if anyone's sort of nervous about yellow or orange polishes, I didn't experience any staining with this one or the previous polish. So here it is in 2 coats plus top coat. And once again, you're seeing that beautiful yellowy, golden, greeny red shift that just works so well against the base color. Here we are moving into some new colors. This one is Darth Small. I really hope you can't hear my neighbor's car in this voiceover, but you probably can, and I hate them. Anyway, this one is a pink cranberry lion sibling with red to green shimmer and a ton of hollow flakes. So this one is so beautiful. As someone who loves pinks, this one obviously excited me very much. And the shimmer in this also works really beautifully, as you're going to see. So again, more of a sheer base that builds up really nicely in 2 coats. You definitely want the top coat to bring back the shine and really show off the hollow flakes. And yeah, this one is just super cute and looks really, really good, as you can see here with the orange that you really get to see when it's sort of backlit. It works really well with that cranberry pink base. And here in this lighting, you can also see the orange and almost yellow shift. And now we're moving into some really beautiful deep polishes in the collection. This one is called What Have the Dark Lord Wrought? And this one is a deep olive with red to green shimmer and a ton of hollow flakes. So here, this one has a incredibly beautiful base color. I absolutely love this color. And it is a little sheer on the first coat, but it builds up perfectly into, I was able to get it fully opaque. And what really impressed me about this one is how intense the shimmer is and how well it stands out against the dark base. So once again, I recommend 2 coats and glossy top coat. And I absolutely love the rainbowiness of the flakes in this one. So here I am moving around. You can see just how beautiful that green shift is and how nicely it works against the base color. You're definitely also catching some of that red and gold, which just looks so rich and beautiful. Next up is I Want to Peel You Like a Potato, and this one is described as a deep teal with red to green shimmer. So what's really interesting to me about this collection is how some of the polishes really are more rainbowy and shifty than other ones. So they all have the same kind of shimmer, but I guess depending on the base color, it sort of impacts the way it comes across on the nail. And this one, I will have you know, is very rainbowy and very shifty. So once again, this has a beautiful formula that builds up perfectly in 2 coats. You can see that it dries down just a little bit dull. It almost looks textured, but I promise you it's not. These are flakes. It's not going to be difficult to remove. And it's super shifty, as you can see. And this is what I'm talking about. You're getting almost all the colors of the rainbow. I'm seeing red, I'm seeing gold, I'm seeing green, yellow, orange, even a little bit of pink. So I just really love how the colors work in this particular base color, or whatever it is. It just looks so good. Here we have Sunrise Sunset, and this one is a black base with red to green shimmer and a ton of hollow flakes. So this one is also a larger particle hollow that looks more like microflakes. So this is really beautiful. There's something really kind of luminous about the way the shimmer and the flakes interact with the black jelly base. So I'm a huge fan of this one, and this one also builds up beautifully in 2 coats. I don't know how that happens, but I'm happy for it. So 2 coats plus top coat, and you're probably also going to be really blown away and excited when you see this one in different lighting, because it is also very rainbowy and beautiful, and I just super love it. And I will say that this one, it almost looks like there's little tiny red flakes, which there aren't, but I guess it's just the way the light is reflecting, and it is so pretty. Here we are looking at It Is My Punishment. This one is described as a blackened violet with red to green shimmer and a ton of hollow flakes. So this one is ridiculously beautiful. It does have a note that it may stain, but my mom, she was a bit of my guinea pig. She wore this for 4 or 5 days with a base coat and it didn't stain, and she is usually prone to staining. So I'm happy to report that this is not a stainer in my experience. So you can see this one builds up really nicely. I almost got it opaque in 1 coat, but I would obviously recommend 2. And of course I recommend a glossy top coat to bring back the shine. And wow, this one is so beautiful and juicy. The shifts in this one are gorgeous. They stand out really nicely against the dark purple base, and yeah, it just makes for an absolutely gorgeous polish. We're getting near the end of the collection before we move into the customs, which is sad, but here we have Familia es Familia, and this one is described as a deep garnet with red to green shimmer and a ton of hollow flakes. So I personally love the look of this base color. It's so juicy and rich, and the shimmer works really, really well in this one. So it has incredibly beautiful coverage, a really great formula, no staining to report, which is also very good news for a deep color like this. And definitely use top coat. That's a given at this point. But you can already see just how beautiful and shimmery the way the gold contrast with the base is so nice in this one. It's just so rich and beautiful. So I'm kind of obsessed with this one. It's just the perfect mix of colors with the base. And now we have You Can Bury Your Own Nuts, and this one is described as a violet, and it has a red to green shimmer and a ton of hollow flakes. So another one that was almost opaque in one coat, but I would obviously recommend two just to deepen it, to get it as close to how it looks in the bottle. This one also has a note that it may stain, but I did not experience any signs of staining when I wore it. So that is very, very good news. And this one, as you can already see, the shimmer contrasts so beautifully against the base. It really stands out super impressively. So this is honestly so beautiful. Like, can we just have a moment to appreciate how beautiful that polish is? If you like purples, I'm going to tell you right now, you need this polish. It is absolute perfection. And last but certainly not least, we have My Sweet Cheese. And this one is a rich cobalt base with red to green shimmer and a ton of hollow flakes. So this one is for my blue lovers, and I am definitely a blue lover. This particular shade of blue does something to me. It's so rich, it's so deep, it's so intense, it's so beautiful. And this one does have a note that it may stain, but I didn't experience any staining myself. So absolutely love this one. It builds up perfectly in two coats. It was pretty opaque on the first, but I obviously will recommend two coats. And this one, I will say that the shimmer doesn't stand out super, super obviously in comparison to some of the previous ones, but it's beautiful, it's deep, it's rich, and I absolutely love it. And I know how much all of you appreciate these collages, so you can see everything side by side. Here are all of the polishes in the What We Do in the Shadows 3 collection. I mean, you're probably going to want to buy the full collection because everyone is gorgeous. And now let's move on to the Facebook group customs. This one's for the Shades of Cyan group, and it's called I'm a Hamster in a Wheel. And this one's inspired by Guillermo from What We Do in the Shadows, and it's described as an indigo polish with multi-chrome shimmer that shifts from emerald to cyan to purple, and then there are added hollow flakes. So this one has a really good formula. It definitely starts out sheer, but it builds up nicely. I could have left it in two coats, but I think I was expecting it to be a bit deeper, and thankfully when I applied the third coat, that's what I got. It looked basically exactly like how it looked in the bottle. So definitely use a glossy top coat to bring back the shine, and this one is very shifty, as you're going to see in a second. It kind of surprised me once I got out in the sun especially. So here, thankfully it was a sunny day. You can see that purple shift is super intense and really visible, and the hollow flakes just give it a beautiful rainbowy effect, which I absolutely love. Multi-chromes with hollow flakes are kind of one of my favorite finishes. So here it is indoors, and then here it is backlit, which really brings out the purple, which is probably one of my favorite shifts. This one is called He's Relentless in Love, and this is one of two customs for the Multichrome Madness group, and this one's inspired by Nandor the Relentless, from What We Do in the Shadows, and it's described as a large particle multichrome that shifts from wine red to copper to gold to green. So this one has a really good formula. as all bees knees do, let's be honest. I did build this one up in 3 coats as well. I just thought that it brought out the intensity when I built it up in 3 versus leaving it in 2. So I recommend a top coat, but this one dries really glossy without a top coat, but obviously always use a top coat. And here you can see a little taste of how shifty it is, but here when I'm moving my hand around, you can really see just how many shifts this has. So it's yellowy, it's golden, it's very copper. The wine shade is definitely there depending on how you catch your hand, but it's just really beautiful and it's perfect for autumn. And the last polish that I have for you is Marwa Deserved Better. I hopefully pronouncing her name right. Marwa is Nandor's wife from What We Do in the Shadows, and this one's described as a large particle multichrome that shifts from wine red to copper to gold to green with 2 different shades of blue light reflective glitter. So this one has a really good formula. It's a reflective, and I only needed 2 coats to get it fully opaque. This one does dry down textured. With all reflective glitters, if I'm planning to wear them out in the real world, I always do a glitter grabber top coat and then a glossy top coat, but for the sake of brevity, I only show myself applying 1 layer of top coat in my videos. But as you can already see, this is very shifty, plus the addition of those 2 different colors of light reflective glitter just adds so much dimension to this polish. It's really quite incredible. So this is a really cute pair for the multi-chrome group, and like I said, the links to their Facebook groups are in the description of my video, so you can join them and get the link to purchase them. Here we are getting into the comparison part of the video. So first up, I thought I would compare some of the darker shades within this release. The names of the polishes are in the upper right corner for you to read, but it's very clear that all of the polishes in this collection are quite different to each other, at least these 4. Some of them kind of looked like they could be similar in their bottle, but not on the nail. So I sort of broke up my fingers into like 2 different comparisons. So on my index and middle, comparing 2 polishes from this release, which are obviously quite different. And then if you notice on my ring and pinky, I'm comparing In Good Spirits, which is from last month, and Darth Small from this release, and they're obviously very different. Here in this set, I thought I would compare some sort of like orange and peachy polishes from this release and previous releases. So the ones with asterisks are from previous releases, and then without are from this release. But as you can see, Rumpelstiltskin and the Fire Girl are quite different, even though they're both line siblings in orange. And Set Your Heart Ablaze from the HHC release is clearly much lighter than both of those, and I kind of threw on Darth Small, which is random. And now we're moving into some grays. So Bee's Knees has a lot of these sort of gray lion sibling polishes, but they're all quite different once again. So on my index is You're Such a Little Bean Freak, which I thought would be close to Make No Bargains or Ties with the Silver Eyes, but it's not, as you can see. And on my ring, I have That Awkward Age also from this release, and it's clearly much darker than all of those polishes. And on my pinky, it was the only sort of Bee's Knees gray I had sticking around, so I just threw it on for comparison. And here I'm comparing the original A Lion with a Thorn in Its Paw on my middle finger, and I thought it would be really close to Guess What, but it's not. So Guess What is on both my index and my pinky, and then I've got A Lion with a Thorn in Its Paw on my middle, and Loyal Unto Death on my ring finger, and they're all really different. So, I mean, it's not very helpful because then you probably just want to buy all of them, but at least you know they're all different enough to justify buying. So you can see how the shimmer is quite different in all of these. And I'm actually out of breath. Oh my gosh. Here I've got on my index, I have I Want to Peel You Like a Potato, and that's from this release, and it's quite different from Always Free. I thought they'd be similar, but Always Free is definitely more teal-y green, and I Want to Peel You Like a Potato is definitely more bluey teal, I guess. And then I'm comparing a Total Heartbeat and on my pinky I have Fantastic, which are from this release, just in case you were curious how the green and yellow compared. And as you can see, they're very different. So I really had to think hard about my favorites, but I've decided to go with You're Such a Little Bean Freak. I think that one is a beautiful light color. It's definitely a neutral on me, and I think it looks so pretty. I love it. I also love the name. It's hilarious. I love Sunrise Sunset because it has such a dark base, but the shimmer is super strong and the hollow flakes stand out really beautifully. And I also really love You Can Bury Your Own Nuts. I love the purple, and obviously the shimmer in that one is super, super intense, which just makes for a beautiful contrast. And I also really like I Want to Peel You Like a Potato because I love potatoes, and no, I'm just kidding, that's not why. But I do like the name, and I love that shade of like teal. It's so pretty. And the shimmer stands out really nicely. So please let me know in the comments what you think of these polishes. Let me know if you're planning on picking up anything from the collection or if you're just going to pick up the entire collection, which is also an option. There's no caps on anything, so order as many as you want and you don't have to stress too much about getting what you want unless you're trying to get a respawn, which good luck to you. So I guess that's it for me. I hope you have a great day wherever you are, and hopefully I will see you in my next video. Bye!